Listen, if you weren't experienced before, you're about to be. Or should I say, we are about to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a lovely one out there. Thank you so much for being here today on this beautiful, sunny but cloudy afternoon that it is. It was already getting a little warm outside. Today was jog day and leg day, but it's also Jimi Hendrix Are You Experienced Day. We're listening to, doing a full album listen of Are You Experienced? Jimi Hendrix Experience, the first debut album released in 1967. We've listened to Electric Ladyland a while back, and now it's time to take it all back to the beginning here with this album listen. Now, I'm going to try and go as quick as I can through all the hubbub before we dive into the actual music. So really quick. It was really hard to figure out exactly who recommended this because there's been a lot of mentions of Jimi Hendrix in this album. But at least what I could find is David Lane, AK, KDP Flush, Brewster Gallery, Warren Bitters, Brian Hale, ANCAT Dub, Barstar, Michael Bachnia, 12 Monkeys, Hong Fang, Ard Gray, Luke Zabel, Steve O'Borns, Brian Hale again, and Mr. Cedars. So there's probably a lot more of you, but on a quick glance, those of you who recommended it. So got you down there. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. What else do I have to say? Press the like button. Let's just get that out the way if you can. Just help me out. Press the like button. Subscribe if it's your first time here, or maybe don't. Wait till you've experienced a little bit more of the video and the channel, and maybe subscribe. That's probably better. Oh, that's what else I have to say. I was blanking. What else did I have? Okay, so here's what I gathered before we dive into this. I have it pulled up on Spotify. Apparently, because there's a whole section here. Pull you guys up here really quick. There's a whole section here on the track listing on Wikipedia. There are 6 different track listings. Here, we are listening to the original North American version. So just so you're aware, we're listening to the normal or the original North American version because, well, it's kind of where I live, and it's the original. So that's what I'm doing here. So that's what's, I noticed the track listings were a little different. I noticed there were a couple tracks that were not included, and vice versa. Perhaps we'll cover those tracks individually afterwards, but for now, we're gonna stick to the original North American version of the album. Also, I remember with Electric Ladyland, the music was blocked. I fully expect it to be blocked again. As always, you can go watch these blocked reactions on Patreon. It's free. All you got to do is sign up. You do have to make an account, but it's free. I do that so that you guys can just go and do that. So yeah, there's that. Speaking of Patreon, if you want, you can sign up for $2 a month. You don't have to, but obviously that supports what I do. Am I done? I think I've gotten 3 minutes. Oh, we need to get into the music. All right. Once again, if it's your first time here, yes, we listen to the music, we react to it, we talk about it, of course, and everything afterwards. But I also like to just kind of be casual. Like, I always say it, but when I do full album reactions, long song Saturdays, I like this to just be like relaxing. I'm not trying to listen to this album to tick a box or to rush through it or whatever. I'm here to just relax. So, if you want something perhaps a little bit more intensely and professionally analytical with the music or anything like that, needle drops that way. If you want something casual, fun, lighthearted, make you feel good, hopefully that's here. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the track listing. Off of this track listing, at least immediately, I can pretty much guarantee you that I know Foxy Lady, and I believe that may be the only track that I know for sure. There may be others, but we'll find out as we listen. I've gotten my spiel out the way. Hopefully you guys are here for it. Keep me company. I keep you company. Let's just jump into the first track, which is Purple Haze. And as always, my friends, this first sip of Ticino herbal coffee right there is to you. Let's go. Such good guitar, obviously. Help. Okay, first track. First of all, just off the top of my head, I have that question. What is making that sound that you distinctly hear at the very end? That very like high pitched kind of ringing. It almost sounded stringy. Like maybe he's putting like a high note through a filter on the guitar or something, but it's just, and it starts over here and then it slowly pans as the song fades out over this way. And there's a huge Wikipedia article about this whole album, so I'm sure we'll find it in there. All right. Debut album, first track. I imagine North America just going crazy. I imagine this is what you hear. And if you weren't experienced in the very beginning, you have a taste of what you're going to experience just from this track. What is there that stands out besides all of it? Jimi's voice. I love the production of the whole track. So first of all, with his singing, he has this kind of, we've heard so many different styles of him in Electric Ladyland. That's a huge album with a lot of different parts to it. But here, I love that the echo that's on his voice and the way that it sounds like he's singing in a big room, right? It's not a close, intimate kind of, singing right into the microphone from here. It's more, I can't, my headphones. It's more like he's back here and like singing. So like there's an outcry. There's an outspokenness that's inherently there in the way that he delivers his singing, which I really enjoy because the way he sings, especially, it sounds like a call to action of some sort, or like I said, some sort of outcry. So that passion is immediately there. His guitar style from the very beginning, it's rough. It has a slight, pull back the slight. It has an edge to it. There's a little bit of aggression in there, but at the same time, it practices a beautiful melody. When he moves into the solo, the bap bap, bap bap bap. I'm trying to do it. Da 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 da, like that rise and the fall. It's a really nice catchy melody that kind of works away from the edge and then goes back in the bam 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 bam. So there's a really nice distinctive diversity in the approach there, which I think is really, really nice. Like I said, the production also has like a lot of those psychedelic elements. You heard some talking on the side that was happening over here. And then at one point, as it moves further into the track, we get a little bit more of that roomy kind of effect. That sounds like it's recorded in a hallway of sorts. It's just, I think, a really cool way to open up the album. And like I said in the very beginning as we kind of heard the song, but it does sound familiar. So I can't say that I've heard this song in totality, but it sounds familiar enough that I wouldn't consider this particular reaction a first listen. So just to toss that out there. I don't know why I did like that. Okay, let's look at the lyrics. Purple haze all in my brain. Lately, things they don't seem the same. Acting funny, but I don't know why. Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Purple haze all around. Don't know if I'm coming up or going down. Am I happier in misery? Whatever it is, that girl put a spell on me. Listen, he doesn't know which way he's going, up or down. He doesn't know this purple haze. Perhaps this purple haze is the infatuation, as he mentions, this girl put a spell on me. So he's, of course, enraptured by her. And he doesn't know what's happening, but he's acting funny. His palms are sweaty. His heart's racing. That's just because he's, I wouldn't say necessarily in love, but, he's feeling a little bit of at least infatuation. Purple haze and all in my eyes. Don't know if it's day or night. You got me blowing my mind. Is it tomorrow or just the end of time? Help me. Yeah, purple haze. He's like, I don't know what this is. You make me blow my mind, mama. Purple haze. I think it's just that youthful infatuation, when you kind of first fall in love or whatever it may be, and it's like, oh, your world is changing, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? Let's look at, listen, while I'm obviously not going to read all that, let's at least try to find some of the key points here. Says it was released as the second single from the band in '67 in the UK. The song features, of course, his inventive guitar playing, which uses the signature Hendrix chord and a mix of blues and Eastern modalities. What is the Hendrix chord? While this sonority has been previously used in jazz and related styles, one particular voicing of this chord is commonly called the Hendrix chord. This is because it was a favorite by Jimi, who did a great deal to popularize its use in mainstream rock music. The most notable song features Purple Haze. Is that the bum 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 bum? I actually don't know. Oh, here you go. So I guess that's the chord. So that's the chord. Okay, got it. Now we know what the Hendrix chord is. This harmonic device is one of many factors that, according to Gleebeck and Sparrow, contribute to the dirty, raw, metallic, angular sounds of his songs. Okay, that makes sense because it definitely does. You know, now that I hear that, so is it because of the chord itself that he's playing, or is it also because more of the sound that he's getting out of his guitar, the different effects and stuff that he's incorporating into the music? John Perry writes the Hendrix chord is the whole of the blues scale condensed into a single chord. So there you go, at least a little knowledge of what that chord is. It says, because of ambiguities in the lyrics, listeners often interpret the song as referring to a psychedelic experience, although Hendrix described it as a love song. I mean, perhaps to me, because of especially this line, whatever it is, that girl put a spell on me, I think of it as, like Jimi said, romance or a love song. But I guess I could also see how Purple Haze could be interpreted as a more different kind of experience, perhaps. It says it's one of his best-known songs, appears on many compilation albums. It was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. That's cool. Let's see. Let's read a little bit more information about the song itself. Hendrix commented, that record isn't us. The next one's going to be different. We're working on an LP, which will mainly be our stuff. They recorded several demos in London. Let's see. In the middle of December, producer Chaz Chandler heard Hendrix toying around with a new guitar riff. I heard him playing it in a flat and was knocked out. I told him to keep playing on that and said, that's the next single. Chandler claimed that after some more urging, Hendrix wrote the rest of Purple Haze in the dressing room of a London club before a gig. Like, before you go out and play, I'm just working on this new song, which I guess if you think about it and put it into context, it does make sense. Like, depending on the life of a musician between touring and recording and stuff, that is the time when you would make a new song, whenever you can find time, whether it's in a hotel or in a dressing room. It says they began recording it in 1967. According to Mitch Mitchell, he and bassist Noel Redding learned the song in the studio. Hendrix came in and kind of hummed us the riff and showed Noel the chords and the changes. I listened to it and we went, okay, let's do it. We got it on the third take as a record. The basic track was recorded in 4 hours. Says afterwards, they developed the song a little bit more with Purple Haze. Hendrix and I were striving for a sound that just kept going back in the studio, or kept going back into the studio. 2 hours at a time trying to achieve it. It wasn't like we were there for days on end. We recorded it, and then Hendrix and I would be sitting at home saying, let's try that. Then we would go on in for an hour or two. That's just how it was in those days. However long it took to record one specific idea, that's how long we would book. We kept going in and out. Redding and Mitchell were not included in the process because Chandler felt it was more efficient for him and Hendrix to do it alone. To get a better quality recording, Chandler took the 4-track tape recorded there for overdubbing, and he did a bunch of stuff. Let's see. Hendrix added new vocals, guitar parts. Unlike the conventional techniques, Chandler just decided to try out new effects and sounds for Purple Haze. He enhanced background sounds by playing them back through headphones, which were moved around the recording microphone, creating that weird echo. So that's how you got that panning that clearly is happening. Chandler also uses sped-up guitar parts recorded at half speed, which also raises the pitch, and panning to create novel effects. The guitar solo features the use of the Octavia guitar effects unit. And of course, it was going on from there. Octavia guitar, that's okay, so that's in a type of effect pedal. It reproduces the input signal from a guitar 1 octave higher in pitch and mixes it with the original and adds distortion fuzz. That sounds really cool. That's kind of interesting. And of course, there's a lot more about the song, the lyrics here. What did Hendrix have to say? Let's see. Is this what Hendrix said? Yeah, here. Hendrix was asked how he wrote songs. He responded, I dream a lot and I put my dreams down into songs. I wrote one, the one called Purple Haze, which was about a dream I had that I was walking under the sea. He later expressed frustration that he was unable to more fully develop his ideas for the song. You know the song we had named Purple Haze? It had about 1,000 words. I had it all written out. It was about going through this land, this mythical, because that's what I like to do, is write about a lot of mythical scenes. Like the history of the wars on Neptune. And of course, it goes on after that. From there, like I said, a lot of information. Can't sit here and read every single little bit of information, but it's nice to at least get a little bit of context. So, I feel like did I drag that on too long? I was interested, so I wanted to learn a little bit more. I hope I didn't like drag that on too long for you guys, like as a watcher or listener. Sorry about that. I was just sitting there reading. All right, let me move on to the next track. I feel like I shouldn't have read so much, but I just wanted to know. The next track, Manic Depression. Here we go. You can hear the heavy metal from that. You know what's a super tiny thing that I loved about that track? At the very end of it, like the whole track, he's just frustrated. This is him airing out his frustrations about manic depression, and I'm imagining that he probably suffered from it, hence him writing about it, right? I like it just sounds so frustrated the way he's singing. At the very end, Hendrix sings with this cool casualness. He can be intense, but he can also sound so casual and cool. And the way that he's singing has that. He's just airing out his frustrations. It really sounds like just someone talking to you face to face. He's just like, man, I've been dealing with this, etc., and, you know, so on and so forth. And near the end of this track, unless I misheard it, there was just a little clip of a moment where I'm pretty sure I heard Hendrix sucking his teeth like that, and that little moment, and I hope that I heard it right, that little moment just adds so much normalcy and casualness to this. He really is just singing like straight to us, and that, man, like, you know, it just adds so much. That little bit, it adds so much humanity to the track. Speaking of the track, it's clearly steeped in a blues, R&B kind of, and obviously psychedelic rock kind of style. But what I really enjoy is, I've mentioned this a few times, but with blues itself has, to me, a very specific style. There's certain things you have to do to make it blues. There's certain notes you have to hit to make it blues. And I like when a band like this, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, when they take the essence of it, boil it down to the simplest ingredient, the simplest element, and then rebrew it, remix it into their own style. And this track has its own style. Instead of the typical blues talking about, you know, the backdoor man, you know, the milkman, and my lady's gone, and etc. He's talking about depression. And so not only is it a change lyrically and thematically from the typical, as his music is, it's changed from what was there before. This is much more experimental and much more progressive in what he's approaching. And I think that is fantastic. I love the riffs. Bum, bum, bum. Mitch Mitchell. You want to talk about rock and roll? Mitchell is putting the roll in that. Because from the normal beat in here, like I can't even do it, but it's just like this constant machine, this constant rolling that he's playing. And I like that sort of trampling rhythm that Mitch is playing here. It just kind of adds this intensity, this urgency, clearly, because it feels like it has to get from here to here quickly. Like it's a movement. That's what I mean, like it's trampling. It's just going without any sort of caution or stopping. And even when it moves into those breaks where there's room for him to put in those, not solos, but big fills, those bum, 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 that trampling is gaining speed and momentum and inertia, and you want to steer clear out of its way. I haven't talked about Noel much on the bass. I like what he's doing. I just have genuinely just paid more attention to Jimi. Can't help it. But I like what he's doing. I don't want that to take away from Redding. Let's look at the lyrics on this one. Manic depression is searching my soul. I know what I want, but I just don't know. That's a great line. I know what I want, but I just don't know. Like, obviously the contrast and the conflict there. But sometimes in life you do know what you want, but then at the same time you kind of second guess yourself and you say, do I? How to heck go about getting it? Feeling sweet feeling drops from my fingers. Manic depression is capturing my soul. And that's what depression can sometimes be like. You know, it really can feel like being depressed to that point can feel like being on the 6th floor of a burning building and you feel like you have no other way out but to jump. You know, like it can feel like that. It can feel suffocating and claustrophobic, like everything's closing in on you and you don't know which way is the right way. It could be like being stuck in a labyrinth to an extent. Woman so willing, the sweet cause in vain. You make love, you break love, it's all the same. When it's over, mama, sweet music, music. I wish I could caress. Manic depression is a frustrating mess. So, of course, you know, first he was kind of talking more about soul searching, as he says in the first line. Then he's talking about his love life here, you know. We make love, we break love. It's over. And he's like, I wish I could caress. I wish I could, you know, perhaps in this case, have a relationship or go further with it or, you know, find something more fulfilling in his life. Well, I think I'll go turn myself off, go on down, all the way down. Really ain't no use in me hanging around. In your kind of scene, music, sweet music, I wish I could caress and kiss. So like I said, now, when he says, I think I'll go turn myself off, go down, all the way down, you could, of course, interpret that in many ways. The way that I just referenced, and when you feel that claustrophobic feeling, you could have, you know, intense thoughts and really go down into the void, you know, the call of the void, but in a more soulful way, of course. You can really find yourself going down. Or maybe he's saying, I think I'll turn myself off. Like, dude, just go to bed. It really could be something as simple as that. It can go in so many ways. Looking at this one, it says, music critic William Rollman describes the lyrics as more an expression of romantic frustration than the clinical definition of manic depression. Yeah, that's what you say. What does Jimi say? There's nothing about what Jimi said here, so I don't know what Jimi, like what he says about the lyrics on this one, but I'm going to go with what I said. Could be wrong. I'm just going to go with it. Let's move on into the next track, which is going to be Hey Joe. Here we go.
I'm going down to shoot my lady.
That was a great song. Okay. A little crime happening, a little infidelity, a little murder, and a little bit of fleeing the crime scene. The crime scene. This is a good one. So I like how this still has a lot of that intensity, but it's given a lot of melody, a lot of depth. Now, I mentioned Noel before. We can talk about him. I love that mellow yet deep resounding sound that he brings on the bass here, especially when he goes into that riff. Bum, 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 bum. When he starts to walk that bass, it breaks up that particular evenness of the song, because this is a very even kind of not flat. It's not the word. It's a very evenly constructed song, right? Not a lot of flashy tempo changes or anything like that. But when he breaks into that particular bass riff, I'm going to do it one more time. Bum, 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 bum. It is so wonderful. The vocals in the back, I'm going to hit my microphone. The vocals in the back, starting as a gentle hum, and then by the end of the song, they're not crazy high, but they are a lot more present. Before, it was like a little group of angels, but then at the end, it was a little bit of more of choir. Like, if I kind of pull it back here, too bad. Here. It's like a muted hum. It's like, right? But by the end, along with the rest of the music, right there. Like I said, it's not like it got crazy intense. They're not like, oh. It's just like, oh. Like there's an openness to the way they sing. And obviously, like I said, throughout the whole track, everyone, Mitch, Noel, Jimi, they're all increasing their volume and their intensity, but they still retain that evenness in the music. It's not a sharp incline. It's like a hill. It's like a a gentle hill, you know? Like, okay, like in Florida, we don't have mountains. It'd be so cool if we did. You know, we barely have hills. But like here, it's like this, guys. It's like, here you go. Like, this is what, like, for us, this is crazy, right? This is what the music is like. It's like, and then there's gentle, see, like, it's a gentle rise. It's a gentle rise. It's not like a crazy kind of thing. So that's what I'm getting at with that. But like I said, between Noel and those vocals in the back, that's what I'm really, really vibing with on this one. I'm trying to find exactly, is it them? No. So it's going to be the Breakaways who are featured on the backing vocals on this track. Looking at the Breakaways, they were an English female vocal trio formed in '62. They recorded with a lot of people, apparently. Let me see if I can find some of the people that they've recorded with. Some that we would know: Little Richard, Sam Cooke, obviously here, Burt Bacharach. They've also worked with I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce his name, but Giles and Fripp from King Crimson, Petula Clark. That's really cool. So they worked with a lot of people. Dusty Springfield. So yeah, they've worked with a lot of people. I love how soft and gentle their vocals are, because like I said, this is a song that does grow in intensity, but with Noel's bass and their vocals, it kind of keeps a calm heart rate in a desperate situation, because this song is definitely quite the situation. All right. Hey, Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? Hey, Joe, I said, where are you going with that gun in your hand? Then, of course, you have the response. I'm going down to shoot my old lady. You know, I caught her messing around with another man. I'm going to shoot my old lady. Hey, Joe, I heard you shot your woman. Heard you shot your old lady. You shot her down on the ground. Like, the span of time that switches from, like, you know, Joe saying, I'm going to go shoot her, and then to, of course, you know, hey, I heard you shot her. Like, obviously, there hasn't been... Like, this is how I view it. Let's think literally. Someone tells you they're going to shoot, you know, another person. I mean, 1, tell them not to. 2, tell the cops or someone. Maybe he did, and there's been a span of time because, now, hey, Joe, I heard you shot your woman down. Probably saw it on the news. Like, oh, shoot, he actually did it. Says, yes, I shot her. I caught her messing around town. I shot her. And I gave her the gun. I shot her. And I gave her the gun. I shot her. So is he trying to frame it to look like she took herself out? Hey, Joe, all right, shoot her one more time, baby. Allow me to click on the annotation for this. Jimi is using his guitars in an extremely unique way that ended up becoming a signature style. He screams shoot her one more time as a metaphor to finishing the solo appearing in the middle of the song. I didn't even catch that. So that's what he says at that point. Shoot her one more time. And he does his solo. Oh. Hey, Joe, where you going to run now? Where you going to run now? I'm going to run way down south, way down to Mexico, all right? Way down there. There's no one going to find me. Ain't no hangman going to. He ain't going to put a rope around me. You better believe it right now. I got to go. Goodbye, everybody. Out. Hey, Joe, run on down. He's out of there. He's a fugitive. Looking at this particular track, it seems originally this was a track by The Leaves, but it has become a rock standard and has been performed in many musical styles by many other different artists as well. And of course, the Jimi version here is one of the first songs he performed regularly. Let's see. It says his became a hit in the UK, entering the top 10 of the UK singles chart in '67, peaking at number 6. The single was also released in the US with the B-side 51st anniversary, but failed to chart. Really? This song failed to chart? It's a good song. Nevertheless, it was listed as 201 on Rolling Stone magazine's The 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. And it says, Hey Joe was the last song Hendrix performed at the Woodstock Festival in '69, and as such, it was also the final song of the whole festival. The song was performed after the crowd, comprising of 80,000 who had not yet left the festival, cheered for an encore. And what an encore, huh? Anyways, next song, we're moving on, and that is going to be... Hold on, I got the I keep on like switching between the both track listings, the UK and the North American. I need to like make sure I stick with the right one. Love or Confusion. Here we go. Volume. Let me pull up the lyrics. Oh, he's saying love or confusion at the very end. Okay. That riff that they did, I wish it went on a little bit longer because that was such a fantastic riff. The one that's like at the end of the verse, bam, 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 bam. I probably don't need to put that much. It was da 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 da. That was just such a like a hard riff. Like it just sounded, it sounded like a shark, like just coming like. Right? It has a little bit of a menace to it. And I thought it was cool how it was used kind of at the end of the verse and as a little bit of a transition before he gave Mitch some room to kind of do some more drumming. But man, it was just such a cool moment. I kind of wish it went on a little bit longer. I love when Jimi uses his more to himself kind of speaking voice in the songs because it still sounds passionate. Like, obviously, he's singing in here most of the song, but there's those moments where he's like, I'm not going to do it their way, but, like, he's just talking. He's like, I'm just talking, baby, and, like, something. Like, my voice sounded so lame doing that, but I think you understood the point, like, especially at the end, when he just kind of speaks to himself. He's speaking to us, the audience, and the listener, and I think that moment, kind of like I mentioned, like, in the opening track when he kind of clicks his tooth, like it just brings a certain closeness, I think, to the music and to what he's delivering and what he's saying. But man, that riff, gong, 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 gong. You get some more sound effects in here, like those fun sound effects from his guitar as well. So like I mentioned it during, but that sound that like I don't know, he's like quivering the note, getting me like a strong kind of high vibrato that. And at one of the lines he says, my head is pounding, going round and round. And when I think of that in the sound, it's like if in a cartoon, when a character would get hit in the head and they'd have the stars going around, and they'd be like, it kind of reminded me of that. He says his head's pounding, going round and round, and that guitar sound specifically, it sounded to me like the ringing in your ears. So I thought that was a cool way of bringing that sound into the lyricism here. There's a moment in the middle of the track where he kind of makes the guitar growl a really guttural and animalistic kind of way, which I thought was really neat as well. It's cool to hear the different sounds that he gets out of the guitar. And of course, we had listened a long time ago to the Star Spangled Banner that he performed, and the sounds he got out of that was incredible. It's just cool to hear that particular brand of experimentation, what you can do, or let me rephrase, how much you could do with so little, in a sense. Is that the stars in the sky, or is it rain falling down? Will it burn me if I touch the sun? Yeah, so big, so round. Would I be truthful? Yeah, choosing you as the one for me. Is this love, baby, or is it confusion? So it's just saying, is this going to be the one, or is this just a little bit of confusion? Are you just an exit on the highway, or are you truly my destination? I think that's a decent way to put it. My mind is so messed up, going round and round. Must there be all these colors, without names, without sound, baby? My heart burns with feeling, but whoa, my mind is cold and reeling. Is this love, baby, or is it confusion? Must there always be these colors, without names, without sound? Yeah, he's just repeating the same lines, and he says, Mom, we must get together and find out exactly what we're trying to do. Listen, you and me, we gotta have a little commiseration. We have to have a little dialogue. Is this going to be a situation or a situation, or perhaps in the end you lose? You never know what kind of situation it's going to be. So you and me, baby, we got to feel this thing out. Let's move on to the next track here, which is going to be May This Be Love. Here we go. I guess there's the question, right? May this be love.
Of my waterfall.
That is so smooth and gentle.
Fall with me for a million days.
Censor. Is this track a crowd favorite? Is this track a crowd favorite? Because I thought this was so gorgeous. And especially in going through the track listing, this was such a welcome rest and piece of melodic beauty. This felt like sitting by a lake and watching the animals, like a perfect picnic day. You're just watching life and enjoyment happen in front of you. Sitting in a park, sitting in a lake, wherever. It just sounded like sitting there and exhaling all the bad, inhaling the good, the sunshine, the fresh air. It just felt so wonderful. I love the calming, soulful nature that Jimi's singing with here. It has a true kind of R&B style to it. It kind of sounded like old soul and R&B singers, like an Otis Redding kind of influence in there, like in that realm, which I thought was really nice. I love how Mitch brings his personality in here. He's still playing, in a sense, that kind of continuous stream of rhythm, like with the drums. But of course, it's just a much calmer nature. The moments where the music stops and Jimi kind of gets to play around in those fills with either like a or like whatever the sounds he's making. I probably sound like a gremlin when I made those sounds, but it's those little spaces that he does within those pauses and the sounds that he makes there kind of hint towards the approach he does in the solo later on. So it's a little bit of musical foreshadowing before you hit the solo there. And then Noel is putting down that particular crystal lake kind of pond, of reflection and meditation and beauty with his bass playing, because it's just so warm and inviting. That's the part that, alongside of the guitar, of course, really makes me feel like so relaxed. And it's just a very gentle, picturesque scene that the band's playing with this one. Let me pull up the lyrics here. Waterfall, nothing can harm me at all. My worries seem so very small with my waterfall. I can see my rainbow calling me through the misty breeze of my waterfall. Some people say daydreams for the lazy-minded fools with nothing else to do. So let them laugh at me just as long as I have you. To see me through, I have nothing to lose long as I have you. Waterfall, don't ever change your ways. Fall with me for a million days, oh my waterfall. And there's a moment when he says waterfall and Mitch kind of plays this nice little fill. Kind of feels like falling. So really, it's kind of what we just, talked about. It's like the daydreaming. Some people say daydreams for the lazy people with nothing to do. He's saying, well, let them laugh. Because every once in a while, it's good to daydream. It's good to have some moments when there is nothing to do and you're just alone with your thoughts, but in a positive kind of way. And just whether you're laying down looking at the clouds or sitting in the park feeding the squirrels, With this track, it says, let's see. It's a soft ballad demonstrating his ability to write thoughtful lyrics and subtle melodies. Trying to see if there's any. I like to read things specific about this particular track, not the album necessarily at this moment. This soft ballad, this romantic that. He described the guitar solo as one of Jimi's most lyrical and lovely, which 100% it is, but no charting information or anything of that nature. So nothing directly from Jimi, at least on this particular track. Let's move on into the next track, the final track on this particular side of the album, which is going to be I Don't Live Today. Here we go. The Mitch drum. This is the heating up. Okay, this ends the first side of the album, and this one definitely brings in to me that manic energy in here. The track before this, soft, ballad, thoughtful. This track, it's just coming at you. It's just coming at you in this one. There's so much happening, but the end speed up here is so dramatic and drastic. The way that Mitch really controls this particular horse, and he hops on, and it just goes and goes and goes. And before long, it's like he's going fast on there. It's like a out of control, like, you know, those carnival rides that are like spinning. It's like one of those. His drumming is just like so heavy and so fast, like as it reaches the end, and Jimmy's guitar becomes so like unhinged. There, just it's just rushing towards an eventual and absolute ending there, which I think is really, really cool, like how heavy that becomes. And let me actually get the lyrics here, because I think that this is kind of important to do it all together on this one really quick. Will I live tomorrow? Which is a stark opening question. Well, I just can't say. Will I live tomorrow? Well, I just can't stay. But I know for sure I don't live today. Now, what is he saying? To me, I interpret this as he's saying, you know, obviously I don't know if I'll live tomorrow, but I know I'm not living today. Like, is he taking advantage of his life? Is he living life to the fullest today? No sun coming through my windows, feel like I'm living at the bottom of a grave. No sun coming through my windows, feel like I'm living at the bottom of a grave. I wish you'd hurry up and execute me so I can be on my miserable way. Like, he's really going through a funk right now. He's really finding himself in a depression, kind of referenced earlier, and this particular day is not a good day for him. He says, you know what, I wish I could just get it over with. I don't live today, maybe tomorrow, I just can't say. It's such a shame to waste your time away like this. And, you know, when you're feeling in that kind of mood, you even feel bad, and you sometimes beat yourself up that you're finding yourself in that particular hole. You say, I shouldn't be feeling this way. It's such a waste of time, you know, but you can't dig yourself out of that hole. Well, I don't live today, maybe tomorrow. And he goes on and says, there ain't no life nowhere. Damn, man, are you experienced? Get experienced. Are you experienced? And I feel like in a way he's asking himself that, like, maybe he needs to get experience. What experience? The experience of life. And with the way that the music captures a lot of starting, a lot of stop moments, the heaviness of it, the chaotic nature of it, I think it works so well with these lyrics of, you know, well, I don't live today, maybe tomorrow, well, I don't live, you know, and just capturing that specific energy that's given in this song, which I think is really cool how that's done. Says Hendrix said it was dedicated to the American Indian and all minority depression groups. The song was part of the Experience concert repertoire, and Hendrix often repeated the dedication during his introductions. I like that. It's kind of cool, and a cool way of thinking about it and incorporating that into this, you know? Perhaps saying in a sense, you know, we never know what we're going to have tomorrow, so once again, live for today and live up today. Says there they recorded I Don't Live Today, of course, at Olympic Studios, which featured a manual wah-wah effect that predated the pedal unit. They completed a working master by the end of the day, though Hendrix eventually recorded a new lead vocal at Olympic. So a manual wah effect. Instead of like the pedal, like, you know, obviously for your foot, is that just the whammy, the bar? Is that what that is? Or is there something else that I'm not sure? Here's the pedal, okay. So before they used the pedal, how are they doing that? Trumpet or trombone players were doing it. Of course, it was later simulated with electronic circuitry for the electric guitar when the pedal was invented. Well, how did he do it without the pedal? That's what I'm looking for. How did Hendrix do it without his pedal then? I don't know. All right, let's see. Also, it says here they consider. I don't care what you consider the lyrics to be. I want to know what Jimi says the lyrics are. Lyrics are about. Okay, we're done with the first side of the album, and I always do this. We're an hour in. Hope that you're enjoying your time here. It's like I said at the very beginning. I'm here for a casual, fun listen. I'm here to experience the music. And at the halfway point, I think we should take a quick mental break. or perhaps not. Maybe not a mental break, but let's play a little synonymy. All you gotta do is think of synonyms. That's what we're gonna do. A quick round. Try to find 40 synonyms of the words on screen. Listen. Even. Level. How about that? Plain. Field. That's not gonna be one, huh? Sometimes it's good to just put the brain in a different direction, take a break, and we'll get right back to the album. You can skip this. Listen. You know what? It may not have been the best game for me to play. Even, plain, level. What's another word for even or plain or level? That's not one. What if I work off plain and now we're thinking. Is a helicopter considered an aircraft? I suppose not. All right. Plane, angle. Plane, angle, geometry. All right. I already did field. I didn't do field. Oh, because field's not one. You know what? Didn't get very far in this one. Aircraft. We have to think of synonyms. What's a synonym for aircraft? A jet. Jet is one. Jet, not with plane. Plane should actually go with jet. Like, that's actually... I'm only doing this for like 2 minutes, so I'm not going to take too much of your time. Let's move on to the second side of the album. And with that track is going to be The Wind Cries Mary. Here we go.
This will be the last.
That back and forth with the riff between the soft bring, 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 and the slightly heavier wow, wow, wow. That was a really nice balance to play because the whole song kind of works off of those two key moments with how, like I said, it does have this very, very cool, relaxed sound to it. The way that Jimi sings, especially when he says, "The wind cries Mary." Like, it's just very soothing, a little psychedelic still. But at the same time, there's a little heat in here. There's a little warmth, a little fire to it. There's moments where Mitch, plays a little quicker on the hi-hats before moving into that stopping of the bum, bum, bum. And then when it moves into some of the more guitar-led moments, Jimi's guitar, for the most part, is very relaxed and playing in that... I don't know what the sound would be, but that lighter, more melodic sound from the guitar rather than the distorted and that kind of sound. So it lends itself more to a light-hearted kind of easygoingness rather than something more dramatic as we ended the previous side. And I like how this is like a soft approach into this particular section of the album. Let's go through these lyrics here. After all the jacks are in their boxes and the clowns have gone to bed, you can hear happiness staggering on down the street, footprints dressed in red, and the wind whispers Mary. So after all the toys are back in their box and the clowns are done out playing and they're back in bed, this is when this happens. A broom is drearily sweeping up the broken pieces of yesterday's life. Somewhere a queen is weeping, somewhere a king has no wife, and the wind it cries Mary. It's like after the party's done, after the clowns have all gone home, so to speak, and the streets are empty, life is kind of calmed back down, life is about to reset, the day's about to reset, that's when he says, the wind, it cries Mary. The traffic lights, they turn blue tomorrow and shine their emptiness down my bed. The tiny island sags downstream because the life they lived is dead, and the wind screams Mary. Will the wind ever remember the names it has blown in the past? And with its crutch, its old age, and its wisdom, it whispers, no, this will be the last, and the wind cries Mary. And so besides the wind part, I think that this is about the calming of life, when the day is over and that energy's kind of gone down, the resetting of the day, and time moving forward. But the wind part, and who's Mary, is the question. Says Hendrix wrote the song as a reconciliatory love song for his girlfriend in London, Kathy Etchingham. He didn't even get her name right, Mary. I'm just kidding. More recent biographical material indicated that some of the lyrics appeared in poetry written by Hendrix earlier in his career when he was in Seattle. It says, according to Hendrix's then girlfriend, he wrote the lyrics after an argument with her about her cooking lumpy mashed potatoes using Mary, which was her middle name. She suggested that the line in the song, "A broom is drearily sweeping up the broken pieces," represents Hendrix sweeping up the broken dishes she threw as a result of the argument. Don't throw things. That's not good either. It says in a later interview, Hendrix commented that the lyrics represent more than one person. And Stubbs pointed out that Hendrix also used the line from the song "Somewhere a Queen is Weeping" in a poem he wrote to another Mary who had been his girlfriend, Mary Washington. A lot of Marys in his life. Billy Cox, Hendrix's longtime friend and later bassist, noted Curtis Mayfield's influence on the song. Hendrix performed elements of an early version in the summer of '66 with his band Jimmy James and the Blue Flames. Chaz Chandler commented on the recording. That was recorded at the tail end of the session for Fire, which we had about 20 minutes left or so. I suggested we cut a demo of The Wind Cries Mary. Mitchell and Redding hadn't heard it, so they were going about it without a rehearsal. They played it once through, and Hendrix suggested some overdubs. In all, he put on 4 or 5 more overdubs, but the whole thing was done in 20 minutes. That was our third single, which was released in the UK in '67 and reached number 6 on the singles chart. So there's your performances here as well. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be what we just mentioned, Fire. Here we go. Starting off like fire.
Listen here,
Oh,
baby.
this is a hot one.
Let's stop acting so crazy. You say and let Jimmy take over.
Love that group.
I am the only one who burns desire. Let me stand next to your fire. Yeah. You better move.
I think Fire is one of the best songs on the album. Living up to its name, it's hot, it's concise, it hits hard. I love Mitch's drumming on this one. That fast groove. I can't even do it, but just his fast-paced groove on here, he sets that tempo at such a pace, and it's up to the band to really keep up with it. They're doing more than keeping up with it. They're burning that particular path. Love the way that Jimmy's singing, but more in particular his guitar playing. It screams, it screeches, it cries, it moves. Redding's bass, bum 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 bum. It gives it a little bit of a jazziness, a little bit of a bounce and a hop to it, and that's especially reiterated when they get on the chorus, the backing vocals. Let me land into your fire. Let me stand into your fire. That swing to it. And they don't relegate it and go into a typical soft kind of swing, even though it has that movement, right? No. Mitch is still... They're still going off, right? They're still putting that heat and that intensity into the music. So they give it that movement, but they don't allow that movement to dictate the way that the band plays. They're going to play at their own pace. And what a pace this one it is. The solo sizzle. It sizzles. This is a hot track. And I love the line where he says, or is it move over, Rover, let Jimmy take over. You don't care for me? I don't care about that. You got a new fool? I like it like that. I have only one burning desire. Let me stand next to your fire. That reminds... Hold on. Let me stand next to your fire. Listen here, baby. You stop acting so crazy. Say your mom ain't home. It ain't my concern. Just play with me and you won't get burned. I have only one itching desire. Let me stand next to your fire. Move over, Rover. Let Jimmy take over. You know what I'm talking about. Get on with it, baby. Listen. He doesn't care. Pull you up. He doesn't care if you got someone else. He's saying,
Oh my.
move over. It's my... It reminds me... I don't know if I can find it quick enough without making you guys sit here and look at my face for too long. I don't know if I can find it that fast. But it reminds me in this scene from this particular movie. I don't know if I can find it quick enough. I'm probably not going to... Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna skip ahead because I can't play. I definitely can't play movies too much on the channel. But he says without copyright stuff. In the Casino Royale.
Family strict Roman
Hold on.
I do hate it when religion comes between us. No.
He said,
religion and a securely locked door. Am I going to have a problem with you, Bond?
Single. Don't
Right.
worry. You're not my type.
"Yeah, you're not my type." And then what?
Smart.
Single.
Boom, baby. All right, let's move on to the next track. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. All right, he frequently played this at concerts. The song had an innocuous origin. Noel Redding invited Hendrix to his mother's house on a cold New Year's Eve in England after a performance. Hendrix asked Noel's mother if he could stand next to her fireplace. She agreed, but her German Shepherd was in the way. So Hendrix let out, "Oh, move over, Rover," and let Jimi take over. Hendrix later joked about the lyric. So that's the origin of the song. It's the most random things sometimes. It's the most random things. All right, listening to the next track here, which is going to be Third Stone from the Sun. That's a jazzy. Oh, that's cool. This is the experience. So Third Stone from the Sun, it's pretty much triple the length of most tracks, or at least double the length, clocking in at 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So the longest track on the album, clearly. And this is definitely, unless the next two tracks are going to blow my mind or change my mind, this is definitely the most experimental one in the catalog so far. This is kind of closest to the nature of that Star Spangled Banner we had listened to a while back, which this is Jimi experimenting with the sounds of his guitar. And yes, he's still making a song. There's still lyrics and, you know, there's an approach and a structure to it for sure. There definitely is. But this is definitely him kind of stretching out of those bounds and adding a little bit of elastic to his plastic, right? He's stretching definitions and, in a sense, dimensions here. I think that this is probably my least favorite track on the album so far. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it's kind of cool that he does this. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I truly don't. It's just my least favorite track on the album so far. Be that as it may. I think it fits in the album. You know, like I said, I don't have anything negative necessarily to say about it. It's just out of all the tracks, I like this one the least. I do like the jazziness of it, the psychedelic approach. It kind of reminded me of Hawkwind, just in a more jazzy kind of style here. In a way, the vocals in the beginning and kind of throughout, those deep, pitched down vocals, they're fine. I don't have anything good or bad to say about it. It's just kind of there. I guess I could say it goes a little bit long, but at the same time, for a track like this, it's fine. I did like that really melodic guitar lead that comes out, that then like I did like that came in near the end, kind of born out of this primordial cosmic chaos that it was playing in. You know, I really don't have anything good or bad to say about it. It just kind of exists. I guess that's the best thing I can say about it. Starfleet to scout ship, please give your position. Over. I'm in orbit around the third planet from the star called the Sun. May this be Earth? Positive. It is known to have some form of intelligent species. I think we should take a look. Obviously, a little bit of a watcher in the skies coming down to see what's happening down here on our beautiful blue and green world. Strange, beautiful grass of green with your majestic silver seas, your mysterious mountains I'd wish to see closer. May I land my kinky machine. I'm not going to say anything. Although your world wonders me, you're about to get probed. Although your world wonders me with your majestic and superior cackling hen, your people I do not understand, so to you I shall put an end. Then you'll never hear surf music again. Maybe he's doing us all a favor. It says here to incorporate several passages and musical approaches, including jazz and psychedelic rock. The title reflects Hendrix's interest in science fiction and is, of course, a reference to Earth. Duh. It says he developed elements of this piece prior to forming this group. Let's see. And other artists have recorded renditions of this and adapted the guitar melody line for other songs. Says that when he relocated to New York City's Greenwich Village, he explored a rock sound outside of the musical confines of the Harlem rhythm and blues scene. While performing with his previous group, Hendrix played elements or early versions of this. He developed it, of course, after moving to England, where they shared a science fiction writing interest with Chaz Chandler. Chandler recalled, "I had dozens of science fiction books at home. The first one Jimi read was Earth Abides. It wasn't a Flash Gordon type. It's an end-of-the-world, new beginning disaster type story. He started reading through all of them. That's where Third Stone from the Sun and Up from the Skies came from." Let's look at this book, Earth Abides, George Stewart. 1949 was when it's written. It tells the story of the fall of civilization from deadly disease and the emergence of a new culture with simpler tools. Set in the 1940s in California, the story is told by Isherwood Williams, who emerges from isolation in the mountains to find almost everyone dead. It's kind of interesting. It's a short book, only 300 pages. You could finish that super quick. All right. Sometimes I just like to read. Let's see. Hendrix biographer Keith Shadwick describes this track as a structured group performance composed of several identifiable passages or sections with further subdivisions. Someone called Rush. There's a little bit of, I see Wes Montgomery. It's a little bit of a Wes Montgomery style octave guitar melody line. One of his most recognizable guitar figures, and is notated in common 4/4. Okay, a bunch of stuff there. There's a lot of stuff about what he's doing here. It's not an orthodox guitar solo. It's more akin to a soundscape forged from his control of amplified feedback and the way he manipulates the Stratocaster's guitar's physical characteristics, including its switches and vibrato arm. And a lot of other things. And of course, the lyrics there, the recording, and a lot more. There's a lot about this piece, despite it being, something more instrumental and such about it. It says several takes were required since Hendrix and Chandler were joking and laughing throughout the session. They're just having a great time. The instrumental makes novel use of recording and mixing. Hendrix contributed to the sound effects by moving his headphones around the microphone to alter the sound of his whispers and breathing. In preparing the final mix, Kramer experimented with the track's sound imaging or an instrument's apparent placement, but was limited by existing technology. He said that song was like a watercolor painting. To create a sense of movement within the overall sound, I pushed Mitch's cymbals forward in the mix, panned the 4 tracks on the finished master. Each track was composed of 4 fairly dense composite images. With 4-track recording, you were restricted to panning these multiple layers of sound, whereas now, with 24 and 48-track recording, what you can pan is absolutely unlimited power. Let's move on into the next track. I feel like I'm talking a lot again. It's going to be the one track that I know, Foxy Lady.
Sweet little lovemaker. Down on the sea. Oh, Foxy.
Now that's a classic song. I first heard that on the radio, I guess now, probably 10 years ago. So I still discovered it really late. But I remember hearing that and I was like, who's that? I didn't know who it was. And so I remember looking it up and like, oh, so that's Jimi Hendrix? That's the Jimi I've always heard about? What is there to say about this track? So, man, if you ever hear the word Foxy, I think that you associate it with this song. The riff, it's heavy, it's pounding, but it's so inviting, alluring. It has that movement to it. Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. That is the epitome of a bounce in this track. The way that Jimmy's singing,
Oh my.
Come on. It's on Foxy, right? Like the way he's singing it it's not an Isaac Hayes, but it's a different kind of sensuality, which, come on. And then the way that he sings that in the chorus, you know. And then that smooth soul kind of singing that he does in there. Butter on your proverbial toast. Drumming is fun. Inside of that bouncy rhythm, of course, Mitch is able to do a lot of fills and stuff to drive it. Guitar is great. Noel's great. But it's that Foxy. It's the way that he says it that just kind of brings you in. And it keeps you in. Wrong button. The wrong button to bring you guys here. All right, let's see. You know you're a cute little heartbreaker, Foxy. You know you're a sweet little lovemaker, Foxy. I want to take you home. I don't want to do you harm. You've got to be all mine, Foxy lady. Now I see you down on the scene. You make me want to get up and scream. Made up my mind. I'm tired of wasting my time. You've got to be all mine, Foxy lady. Here I come. Listen, once again, what is there to say about the songs? What do you need? What else do you need spelled out? Let's see. It was released as the third single in the U.S. with an alternate spelling, because here in the U.S. we don't know how to spell, apparently. It is one of Hendrix's best-known songs, frequently performed in concerts. It says that, let's see. Foxy Lady is certainly closer than most to encapsulate his whole entire... God, don't laugh at me. I don't know how to pronounce this word. You listen. It's never too late to learn things.
Evra.
What?
Evra.
I don't feel like that's exactly right, but we'll go with it. His whole his whole discography, everything he's done, his career. The song opens with a fingered note shaken in a wide, exaggerated vibrato. The amplifier does lots of feedback. After that, Hendrix slides down to the rhythm figure, which uses the dominant. Okay, I don't care about all that speak. That means nothing to me. Dominant this and minor chord that. Prior to the recording, the group had not worked out an ending for the song, and Noel claimed that using the last chord was his idea. Suggests that the song's lyrics were inspired by Heather Taylor, who later married Roger Daltrey of The Who. Hendrix later commented that he did not approach women in such a straightforward manner as the lyrics suggested. Listen, sometimes you feel a different sort of bravado, and you put on a different, not persona, but like a different part of who you are, your persona, in the music and in your art that doesn't necessarily reflect, who you are in actual real life. Says it was issued, like I said, as the third song from the album in '67, 1 month before the release of the second Experience album. Let's see. It peaked at number 67. Record World said of the single that this one has the beat to perk up teen ears. Jimi wails in it, nitty-gritty fashion. What a time to be alive. All right, let's move on into the final track here on the album, which is going to be appropriately titled, and, the title track, Are You Experienced? After all this, if you're not now, you got one more chance.
But first, are you experienced?
That's cool how that shifts. I like how that guitar. That's really cool.
Well,
Like, it still gives it that marching rhythm, just turned around.
not necessarily stone, but beautiful.
That's a great line. Just wait till the last second. You never know. And that, ladies and gentlemen, ends our album listen. Jimi Hendrix Experience. Are you experienced? If you, like I said, if you're not by the end of the album on the title track, perhaps you never will be. This is, to me, the perfect track taking experimentation and writing a good song. This, to me, captures those ideas really well. This is a complete different type of experimentation than Third Stone from the Sun. But I think that this works a lot better in song, in actually listening to it. It's not abrasive to listen to. It is progressive. It's different, but it still keeps you engaged, and it still is a song at heart. The song comes first and experiment after. And of course, vice versa can work. But in this one, I don't know. I think it works really, really well with how it's structured. I think that backward sound, which of course is introduced to us in the very beginning, is really nice because there's a rhythm to it. There's still a beat of something to it. There's still a melody, as twisted and reversed as it is. Then, as the actual song comes in regular and normalcy, that backwards part still plays back there, but it kind of comes in and out. It doesn't stay there so much to add too much unnecessary clutter and density to our audio experience. But when it does come in, it's unique. It gives us like a flavor perhaps we haven't tasted at this particular point. You're like, oh, I've never had that before. I don't know what it is, but I like it. It's introduced with something that you are familiar with. It's like if you were to go to a restaurant, and I can't think of an exact example, but like, let's say you're going to this restaurant and you're going to be experimental. You're going to try something that you've never tried before, like some ingredient. And you're like, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. But it's not served just on its own. It's served with potatoes, rice, some sort of soup, something that you are familiar with. So even though you're experimenting with this, you still have this. And then how they work together makes the whole experience that much more palatable, interesting, and in the end satisfying and delicious. Here's a similar story. You're getting the experimental, but you're still getting that main course of something you expect, a great song. Put it together, and voila, here you go. Are you experienced? I love the ending of this track where he says, not necessarily stoned, but beautiful. Because I'm sure, especially being in the 60s, like, everyone's thinking, are you experienced? Yeah, are you high? And then he says, no, not necessarily that. Are you experienced in the sense of, are you beautiful? Have you found beauty? Whatever that may be in your own particular perspective. So I like how he kind of takes away from the, I guess, typical psychedelic message and kind of brings it back to like, no. It's about you. It's about self-beauty, self-fulfillment, and self-love at the end of the day. I think that this song works really well in closing the album, bringing it all together, and just providing a well-met experience to pun it all up at the end. All right. If you can just get your mind together, then come on across to me. We'll hold hands and then we'll watch the sunrise from the bottom of the sea. But first, are you experienced, or have you ever been experienced? Well, I have. I know you probably scream and cry that your little world won't let you go. But who in your measly little world are you trying to prove that you're made out of gold and can't be sold? And once again, yes, so are you experienced? Have you ever been experienced? Then he says, let me prove it to you. So I like how before you can achieve this, watching the sunrise from the bottom of the sea, you have to be experienced or have been experienced. And then he says, like, you have to let go. You have to let go of what he says, your measly little world. And he says, you'll probably scream and cry. There's going to be some hardships. There's going to be some pain to this. But it'd be worth it in the end. Trumpets and violins I can hear in the distance. I think they're calling our names. Maybe now you can't hear them, but you will if you just take hold of my hand. But are you experienced? Have you ever been experienced? Not necessarily stoned, but beautiful. So I love the lyrics here. I love the writing that he's putting down. How he says, I can hear this, and maybe you can't do it right now or hear this right now, but you will if you just hold my hand. Take this journey with me. Now, this being at the end of the album, you've experienced. So you've already, in a sense, heard his or held his musical hand listening to this album. But I just really love the beauty of how this is written to end the album. It says it's been described as one of his most original compositions on the album. It's largely based, I don't know why I said it like that, largely based on one chord and has a drone-like quality reminiscent of Indian classical music. It says it was recorded in, of course, Olympic Sound Studios on the final day of recording this album. The backwards guitar track was recorded 4 times, with the last take being used for the final version. It says the original idea for the guitar was to do a loop, but that gave a problem. We tried looping it, and then we couldn't get it to loop. In the end, Jimi got so impatient doing this, he said, look, it's quite easy. We're just going to play, and played it in. It is also possible that Hendrix performed some of the backwards drum parts on the song in addition to Mitch. That's really, really cool. It says it's praised as a majestic set piece of declamatory anthem rock. Mitch Mitchell's military snare wraps out behind the startlingly contemporary hip-hop scratch sound effects, which, yeah, that's why I was like, it's a beat. Tapes running backwards, punctuating Jimmy's condition for being your guide. To what? Sexual ecstasy? Altered states of consciousness? Or just finding yourself, taking time out to view what you're doing from the outside, from the bottom of the sea, letting go of the daily grind from the measly world. It is all there for the taking. The secret is being at peace with yourself. Not necessarily stoned, but beautiful. Which is a really beautiful sentiment, like I said, to end the album on. It says, the rendition of this track was smashing and ear-splitting. Hendrix ended the gig by smashing a guitar handed to him for the finale. This was at Seville Theater, and hurling it into the audience. Well, that sounds dangerous. The show was dubbed a farewell concert by Shapiro and Gleevik before the band headed to the U.S. for their appearance at the Monterey Pop Festival. That's good. And, of course, Devo recorded a version as well. That's good. This is a fantastic way to end the album. I think that this was a wonderful... I'm clapping up here because my microphone's down here, and I don't want to... I could clap right here. This was a really fantastic album. I loved listening to this. Favorite tracks? I mean, Foxy Lady is like a shoe-in. Are You Experience is really, really good. May This Be Love? I love May This Be Love. I have to say May This Be Love, Fire, and Are You Experienced, and Foxy Lady. I'm kicking out Foxy Lady just because I already know it. So, May This Be Love, Fire, Are You Experienced? I'm satisfied with that. Very satisfied with that. How long did we record? We're almost at 2 hours. We're almost at 2 hours for this recording. Have you guys stayed here for the whole 2 hours? Truly, did you guys watch the whole thing? I always say it. Say it one more time. I like doing long videos like this. I like sitting down with you and recording an entire reaction, just in one go, the whole album. To me, it's fun to sit down and do this with you guys, and I truly hope that you guys have enjoyed it as well. Let's end this out before we hit that 2 hour mark. Let's end it out. If you didn't in the beginning, press the like button. Thank you as always for being here. Now, if you'd like to subscribe, you can do so. If you enjoyed this, I invite you to subscribe. Then in that case, Patreon. You want to support what I do? Because I can't do these long song Saturdays without the support there. Truly, I can't. Otherwise, I would be working on the weekends. So you can support what I do over there for $2 a month. You do not have to, but you can. And I think that's the video. I think that's it. I think it's time to play the outro and take one more sip of water. Listen, after talking for a while, it's not hard work sitting here and listening to the album and talk, but after a while of talking, my throat does begin to get hurt a little bit. I almost don't want to say goodbye, but I gotta. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching this. Seriously.